Hey everyone, my name is Dericka Miller and welcome to the Story of Dericka podcast, or just the Story of Dericka in general. I'm not sure what this is going to be right now, but what I do know is this is part of my calling. So yeah, that's that. So welcome to wherever you're listening to this from, whether I decided to post it on YouTube or whether I just decided to post it and had no idea what to do with it. As you can see, I'm all over the place. So I just wanted to come on and basically, I guess, talk a little more about the Story of Dericka and its initiative and what it's actually meant to be, and actually dive into a little of my story as far as the current position of life that I'm in right now. Because yeah, it's a journey. So this isn't going to happen in no particular order, because honestly, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm not afraid to show y'all that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm literally just learning and going with the flow with what I am guided to by God. So yeah. so so I guess we could just start with the Story of Dericka and why I basically named my Instagram page, my brand, my personal brand itself, the Story of Dericka, because obviously, like, there has to be some type of meaning behind, a specific name you give yourself, right? So I guess I can just say this. I forgot how long it's been since I've started my Instagram page. It's been some years though. I first got on social media when I was in middle school. And I remember the first one that I got on was Facebook, and then I transitioned to Instagram, Twitter, all this different type of stuff. But something that I can say is I've always been a storyteller. And I always knew that from the bottom of my heart, that I have been a person who is drawn to stories. I love storytelling. I loved short stories. I loved in my English classes how we would go over like different literary devices and things of that nature. In fact, one of my favorite moments in high school was when in my English classes we would get assigned writing assignments. So assignments where we would have to specifically like sit and let our creativity run wild and create our own stories that were about 5-10 pages long. And there was just something about that I was really drawn to, just because of my mind at the time. Like, I am a person who has been through a lot. And if you actually see me as far as with my face and my demeanor, if you actually get to know me, you wouldn't know that I've been through a lot in my life. I'm 25 years old and I've been through so much that if I told you the full extent, like actually sat down with you and told you the full extent of everything that I've been through from start to finish, you're going to end with your mouth dropped on the floor. No joke, because that has happened before where I have told people even a portion of my story and what I've been through, and literally they are left speechless. Literally, are you okay? Seriously, are you okay? I promise I'm better now. If you would have asked me a long time ago, I probably would have said no, but I am getting better now, which is partially why we are starting this in the first place. Like I said, I have no idea what this is going to be. I just know that I'm called to be creative, which, going back to why I named this the Story of Dericka, it's literally just to share my story, and just reminiscences of it so that I can help people along the way as well. I see too many people who are basically living life with no purpose, who are living life feeling like they are not worthy and that they just don't add any value to life in general. People who have no identities and they basically mooch off of other people just to tell them who they are and things of that nature, especially in society. And that was my story as well. I grew up very anxious. I grew up, not in the best situation possible. I experienced childhood traumas that have scarred me for years that I'm now addressing in my 20s. I've experienced a lot in my life, from depression to bullying to suicidal thoughts and all that type of stuff. I've experienced a lot in my life. And I know that there are other people out there who have the same issues, people who have been through a lot in their lives and they just don't know how to handle it, and they've just lost hope. And that's why I wanted to start the Story of Dericka, to share my story, to help others be free in their minds and in their lives as well. I don't want people to be in bondage to their past like I was for so many years. And it's crazy. It really is, just to see how people have really given up on themselves just because of a situation that happened to them years ago. But it also speaks volumes to how these situations, even if the world may pave it off as like small, like, oh, it happens to everyone. Well, not everyone addresses it. Not everyone sits with themselves or sits with God, or, and just goes through like, I've really been through a lot. Let's address that so that I can move on. So that's partially why I started the Story of Dericka, or even named my channel the Story of Dericka, because I feel like my story can make an impact for others, and I want to share that no matter how gruesome it gets, no matter how it makes me feel, because I'm still very reserved when it comes to telling my full story. I haven't done that like at all, period. But I feel like now is the time to start, especially with the current phase of life that I'm going through, that we'll go into momentarily. But the Story of Dericka is more than just a name. It's an initiative. The Story of Dericka is a movement. It's literally a way for me to express myself and help others in the process as well, because so many people, I swear to you, they have not addressed their childhood traumas. Some people are still stuck in the past, stuck in their ways, and identifying with something that isn't even for them. So if sharing my story, if sharing my experiences, if sharing my lessons learned, if sharing what I've done wrong or what I've done right can help someone else in the process, why not do it? So here we are. Welcome to the Story of Dericka. I hope that you stay. I hope that you learn. And I also hope that you gain some valuable insight from the stories that I have to tell about my life. So that's just a little about the Story of Dericka, why it was formed and things of that nature. Now I kind of want to go into life right now. Like, what stage of life am I in right now? Like, all this different type of stuff. So like I said, I didn't have a script or anything with this, so please bear with me because I might be all over the place, but that's okay. The point is the story gets told, and hopefully it causes you to think or change your insight, whatever it does. So I'm going to start this story off with this. In 2025, I felt like as soon as we hit January 1st, 2025, I shifted into a new season. Because 2024, I had been through a series of tests, I feel like. And these tests are faith-based. Now, I will go more into the faith-based side of things on my, if you're more of a faith person, then I go into my second channel called The Faithful Diaries. I will put, links and things of that nature below, but that's more about your journey with Christ, your journey with God, things of that nature, and how it's not always pretty. So I might change my mind and just stick to just talking about that here as well. But just to let you know, I am a God person. I believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and I'm a God girly, okay? So we do talk about God. We do talk about God here. I do talk about God and things that He's taught me, He's brought me through. I've learned from Him, things of that nature. So I say that to say because I've been through a series of tests in 2024 that I had to go through in order to get to this new season that I'm in right now. So specifically, starting 2024, I was basically starting my identity journey full force. So I was finding my identity in Christ, but I was also coming out of who I used to be. it was almost like a battle that was happening between the person that God desired for me to become and that I wanted to become, and the person that I had been ingrained in for 23, 24 years. The person that the world wanted me to be, the person that other people around me wanted me to be, instead of who I truly am meant to be. So that's what most of the journey entailed for 2024. I like to say that I went through two tests actually. The first test was for the first half of the year from January to June, and basically I failed it because I went against what I was shown, what I was taught, and, for my own reality, for my own desires and things of that nature. So the second half of 2024, which was from June to December, I faced the consequences of my decision. I faced the consequences of my decision, and basically what happened was, your girl had to do a retest. I had to go through the same lessons, the same insights, the same everything that I did from January to June, again in July to December. All for me to actually learn the lesson and be like, hey, what did we learn this time? Don't go against what God has shown you. So, I'll go more into that story at a different time. But it was important to know the context to know why we're in a new season in 2025. Basically, at the end of 2024, I passed the test that I initially failed. And as soon as we entered into January 1st, 2025, I basically entered into a new season of my life. And that new season entails me walking in my spiritual maturity, walking in my identity, and coming out more and more from the person that I thought that I wanted to be into the person that I know I'm destined to be, and the person that I know can make an impact in this world, a person who can bring good and not harm, things of that nature. But that required a lot of pruning, a lot of cutting away and things of that nature for the first few months of 2025. I know we're just in March, but when I tell you, I have been led by the Lord to cut off people. I've been led by the Lord to cut off certain situations and things of that nature. Certain opportunities, all this different type of stuff. It really has been, I guess I could say it's really been hard because it's hard to let go of who you were for the past 24 years, since 25 years, who you've built yourself to become, who other people have said that you are, who you've identified as. It's hard to let go of that and the people and the things associated with it as well. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. And that's where I am right now, where I've been just pruning. I feel like I've been pruning. I feel like things and people have been cut away from me for specific reasons. I feel like I'm in a position in my life now where I am taking a different route, and it's not the route that I originally thought that I was going to take for my life. It's what God wants. It's what I need, actually. And I want to take you along that journey with me, which is why I'm even starting this or even recording this right now. Like I said, I don't know what this is going to be. I don't know if this is going to be a podcast. I don't know if I'm going to post this, but even still, I have to put these thoughts out here. So I say that also to say that in this new season that I'm in, I'm coming to the reality that the person that I thought that I wanted to be, with the dreams and goals that I had, is not the person that I should be or should be in. So basically, let's backtrack some. Let's explain. Because your girl has always been creative, but the life that I chose for myself, I wanted to be an accountant, right? Which I am now, but walk with me here. So I ingrained within myself at a very young age that I would be an accountant, that I wanted to be an accountant, that I wanted to climb the corporate ladder, that I wanted to basically live this life as a woman who is in corporate America, who climbs her way up the ladder, who has all these degrees, because I was thinking about going back and getting my master's degree in business administration, my MBA, for all you business folks out there. I wanted to do this by 25. I wanted to, well, let's be honest. I wanted to be married by 25. I wanted to have children before I was 30. I had all these plans paved out for my life. I wanted to have a big house by the time I'm in my 30s. I wanted to do all this. I wanted to do all that. Literally, all the dreams that I had laid out for myself, I just laid them out at a young age. But one thing for certain that I knew, or I felt like I knew, was that I wanted to be an accountant. Don't ask me why. I do have a love for numbers, so that's part of it. Yeah, we'll come back to that momentarily. So imagine my surprise when I start, honing more in on my relationship with God, and He points me away from this direction. You can imagine how shocked I was. You can imagine how confused I was, because I thought to myself, I thought that this is what was for me. I thought that I was meant to be an accountant. I thought that I was meant to be married by 25. I thought that this, I thought that, blah, 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 blah. Until He had to reveal to me that this is the life that I wanted, but not the life that I'm deserving of, or the life that He wants for me. And after coming to that realization, I really had to sit down with myself and think, why did I want to become an accountant? Why did I want to take this path? Why did I want all these goals? My motive matters in this situation, as it does in any situation that you're in. Your motives matter. And that's one of the biggest lessons that I've been learning lately, is that motives matter, because they dictate and drive your efforts. And it causes a bigger impact than you think. You can make a good impact by your decisions and your motives, or you can cause a bad, all that different type of stuff. But it was because of that I had to sit down with myself and really realize that He was right. Accountancy is not for me. Even though I went to college all 4 years for accounting, even though I have my accounting degree, even though I built accounting connections, even though I did all this stuff, there was one thing that I realized, was that my motive for becoming an accountant had nothing to do with making an impact for accountancy or in accountancy at all. I literally did it for money. Let's be honest. I literally did it because it was almost like a response to what I grew up with. I grew up poor. I grew up in poverty at times. And I've experienced that remnants, and I ingrained within myself from an early age that I did not want this for my life. I did not. And I still don't to this day, right? So that's actually the main reason why I chose accountancy, and why I went to college for accounting, is because of the money, the job security, all of that. And what I also remembered was I came to a crossroads in high school before I even graduated. I can never forget this, because I wanted to be a writer so bad. Now pin that, because we're going to come back to that momentarily. But I wanted to be a writer so bad, but I let other people, specifically my family, influence me and change my mind to go into accountancy, which was my second option, because of the job security and what it brought me. And I realized that I made the wrong choice at that moment. I should not have gone to school for accountancy. I should not have became an accountant. I shouldn't have even ingrained myself in that culture, because that's not what I was called to do. And that's when I really started thinking and diving more into callings. That's when God started revealing to me more about my motives, more about my calling, my actual identity, and what I'm called to do on this earth, which is something that I've always chased, was purpose. Even in the midst of me going into accountancy and things of that nature, I wanted to chase purpose, but for some reason I could never find a purpose in accounting, and that's because it was not my purpose. But I remember when I was younger, I would always write. When I tell you that my mind is so creative, I can come up with a story like that. Even just thinking about like a situation or something that happened in the media or whatever, I can just think so creatively of how to put that out there in a story form, or thinking to myself, this story needs to be told and all this stuff. And whew, that was my calling, y'all. That little girl who dreamed of being a writer and an author, that girl who dreamed of storytelling for a living, turns out that is my calling. And it's interesting that it took this long to get to this point, specifically because it's been there this whole entire time. And it's because of that realization that I'm convinced that many of us are in career fields, are in job functions that we do not belong in, and we're doing it simply because of money. We're doing it simply because of power. We're doing it because our family did it, so now we have to do it as well, when that is not the case. That is not the reality, and it does not have to be your reality. In fact, I hope that as you hear this, you're coming to the realization that probably the career field you chose is not the one that is meant for you. It's not the one that you're called to. It's not the one that you're meant to make an impact in. Because it's crazy how we can be so easily influenced by all these different things that the world promotes and that other people around us promote, when it's not going to give us fulfillment. And it's not going to give us a drive. It's not going to allow us to make a difference truly. If you're not doing what you're called to do, if you are not taking heed to the gifts and talents that you have and using them for the betterment of others and the world, then there's no fulfillment in that. I'm fully convinced of that. Why? Because I have felt the effects of my decision to go into accountancy, which is not my calling, for the past few years now. So let me just explain to you what I mean. Because first and foremost, I can never find myself staying in any accounting field for too long. I found that out for myself. Like I would literally stay at either I had internships that were only temporary and were only a couple months long, or I had a position in an accountancy field, but I wouldn't stay for too long, maybe no more than 6 months, because I could not find fulfillment in those positions. No matter if it was in the public field, the private field, the industry field, it did not matter. I could not find fulfillment, even if I enjoyed what I did. That was like a temporary high that lasted only for a little bit before I left for something else. So that's one thing. I job hopped a lot between the time I was in college and the times after I got out of college, and I was just basically in corporate America. That's one thing. The second thing is I would always be so miserable in my role. Like, it didn't matter how much money I was making, because let's be honest, at being a 20-something-year-old with no kids, living at home, I was making some good money. Minimal bills because I stay at home. Shout out to my mom, by the way. She is amazing. But I was making some money, and I was doing exactly what I said I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to start climbing the corporate ladder and things of that nature, right? But before I could even do that, I found no fulfillment, no matter how much money I was making, no matter what benefits I had, no matter what opportunities or anything. I was miserable. And when I say I was miserable, I mean that I struggled to get my work done at times. I struggled to complete even the most simplest tasks. It was a struggle for each and every one of them, okay? And of course, in any role, you're going to do things that you don't want to do. But there's a difference between doing something that makes you uncomfortable, that you need to push through and learn to adjust with, and doing something that literally you dread every single day, that brings you no fulfillment, that you feel is depleting you. And that was the situation for me in a lot of areas that I was in my accounting career so far. I felt no fulfillment, which is why I would leave after some months. When I tell y'all, I never stayed at any of my jobs that I had between college and now for more than 6 months. I mean that. It was bad, y'all. And those are just a couple ways that I really started to analyze to myself, I am not in the right career field. I'm not doing what I'm called to do. And plus, my gifts have always been there since I was a young girl. Writing, storytelling, all that stuff has always been ingrained with me because it helped me through my childhood traumas. It helped me express myself. It helped give me a voice when I did not want to speak with the words that I'm speaking with now. It was always there, and I was always good at it. Like, seriously, I was always so good at it. So good that I won awards, I won money, I did a lot with it. But for some reason, I didn't go full-fledged with it just because of the money aspect, because of what other people were telling me and all this different type of stuff. When it's wrong to do things just for money. The love of money is literally the root of all evil. Money isn't bad, but the love of it, doing things because of money, that's bad. That's wrong. You can't convince me otherwise, because you just heard what I went through just for money. And like I said, I was making some good money now. So most people would be like, why are you complaining? I have no fulfillment, sir, ma'am. So absolutely not. So where does that lead me to now is probably what you're wondering. This new season, I have been called out of corporate America, out of my role in accountancy, which I felt was coming actually since the ending of last year. I just felt that inkling because I felt that same miserability like that I felt in my previous roles happening at the current job that I'm at right now. But the crazy thing is, and what I questioned myself about was, why am I at this job longer than all of my other ones? Literally, when I tell you that my other accounting jobs that I haven't stayed with them for longer than 6 months, whether it be an internship or a full-time position, I mean that, y'all. Wow, like seriously. But this role that I'm at right now, even though I'm still in the accountancy role, I haven't left and I think I know the reason, which I think I'll actually touch on in another episode, because I don't know if I want to touch on that right now. I'm not going to say where I work right now, but it's a great place. But even though I'm transitioning out of the accounting role, I'm now embracing, I'm in this new season, it's time for me to come out of the person who I once wanted to be and thought that I was, and into the position and the person and the identity of who God wants me to be and who I ultimately do want to be. Because the person that I am now today is not the same person that people knew me as in middle school, in high school, in college, even a year ago. I'm a completely different person. And it's because I'm maturing, I'm changing. And because of that, I have to realize my wrongs and I have to correct them. It was wrong of me to choose a career simply for money. if you choose anything, especially a career that you're going to do for years to come, do it for impact. And that's exactly what's going on right now. So I say all that to say that my new season entails me leaving corporate America, leaving the accounting industry altogether, and going into full-time creation, as far as with writing, as far as with storytelling, what have you. And I'm okay with that. At first when I came to this realization, especially at the beginning of this year, that this is actually happening, like I am literally in the process of transitioning out of the accountant role at my job and into another role, into another position, into another area that requires me to be fully creative in my day-to-day process. When I tell you that it scared me a little because I haven't seen anyone do this like ever in my family or around me. Like, this is new, and this is completely new. This is me starting from scratch, like from the bottom. This is me paving a new foundation, and it's scary because I haven't seen anyone else in my family or in my friend group do this. But it's exciting at the same time, just because I know that I don't care about the money. Now, at first, the money did plague me a little, but that's me limiting what God can do and limiting, myself to not think that anything is possible, because anything is possible, especially when you have God by your side. So I'm not saying anymore, how am I going to do this, or what am I going to blah, 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 blah. No, it doesn't matter about the money. I just really want to make an impact. I want to help as many people as I can through telling my story, through, implementing it however I can. And if I have to start from scratch, if I just have to explore, I don't care what I have to do, honestly, because I know that this is my calling. I know I'm good at it. I know I have gifts in it. So why not execute on it? And that's just currently where we are right now. And I want to take you along that journey just to show you what happens when you decide to bet on yourself and follow and chase impact over money, chase making a difference over, selfish desires and things of that nature, and see how your life goes. I want to be a testament of that, so that's why I want to take you along this journey and why I'm starting this in the first place. I feel like this needs to be said. I feel like some people need to hear this story, because you probably see yourself in the same position that I was in once before. You're probably experiencing that right now, and you're probably wondering what's next, because I'm wondering the same thing for myself. What's next now that I've done what I need to do, what I've been told to do? And the answer that I can tell you is, I don't know. And you might not know either, and that's okay. It's okay to not know for a little while. It's okay to just go with the flow. And coming from a planner, that's hard for me to even say, because I love to plan everything, child. But I'm okay with going with the flow with how life is going to go right now. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen now that I'm leaning more into my gifts and talents to make a difference, a true impact, a true difference, as opposed to the life that I thought that I wanted that, let's be honest, was probably filled with selfish ambition, was filled with ideas and thoughts from other people and the world and things of that nature. Like, we done with that. I'm okay with going with the flow with how my life is going to go from here on out. And whoever comes into it, whatever comes into it, I will accept with open arms. So basically, to conclude this, I want to give you some words of thought. just for you to go off of. If you're currently in a transitioning season of some kind, like I am, I want you to know that it's okay to start back from square one. That's literally what I'm doing right now. I literally went to college. I spent years building myself into an accounting profession that ultimately I was never called to. Years, money wasted and spent. And I won't even say that it was wasted because I gained valuable information when I was in college. So I won't say that. But time, money, sweat, tears went into a calling and a destiny that I was never called to. And now here I am starting back from square one with a new mindset, a new heart posture, and a new position that wants to spark change and not just make money. I don't just want to make money. I want to change lives. I want to make an impact. And let me tell you, that is more fulfilling than any amount of money that you will ever make in your life. I am telling you, because I'm living that even right now. So if you have to start over, start over. Don't worry about what time you wasted or what money you wasted or anything like that. Focus on the impact. Impact over income, really, is what comes to mind to me. But really, impact over making money, because ultimately the money is going to come. It will always come. Opportunities will always be there. But you making an impact, you helping others, you making a difference to the world is much more important than any amount of money that you can ever make in your life. I am telling you that right now. So start over. It's okay. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what position you are in right now. It doesn't matter how you feel. You can start over. And I'm doing that right now as a 25-year-old woman who's transitioning out of one area of her life. 25 years. I've been on one pathway of my life, and now I am exiting that and coming into a new destiny, a new calling, a new purpose that was always meant to be mine in the first place. I just had to find it. Let that inspire you. Let that cause you to think about your current life and whether you truly are making the most of the life that you're living now. If you're making an impact, or are you just making an income? Are you changing lives, or are you just trying to get by? All this different type of stuff. I hope that it causes you to think, and I hope that you were impacted by this as well, just as much as I am just sitting here talking about it, no script, no none. So I thank you for listening to this blabble of mine. I thank you for tuning in, if you tuned in for this long. And I just hope and pray that just from listening to this, you were impacted in some type of way, whether it's caused you to think, whether it's caused you to reevaluate your current life and stances and things of that nature. And yeah, that's it. I don't know. We might do more of these. We'll see about it. But once again, my name is Dericka, and welcome to the Story of Dericka. So until next time, I will speak to you soon. Bye.